Hi there, welcome to inheritedland.com. My name is Jason, and I'm a real estate investor that has bought over 500 pieces of land in 11 different states and even internationally. Now, before we get started, if you've recently lost a loved one, I want to extend to you my deepest condolences in this time of loss. It can be very difficult when you've lost someone that you care about to then have to face the legal issues, the estate questions, the transfer of real estate. It can be overwhelming. So my prayers are with you in this difficult time. I decided to launch this site in order to help people in situations just like you. Having worked with so many clients that were trying to sell their land and faced many different issues, some of which were things like my family member passed and did not leave a will. Where does that leave us? A property that was left to the children or grandchildren in shares, meaning in interest or undivided interest, as it's called in real estate. And a coordinated effort would need to happen to try to track down all the heirs and sell the property. Other things that often happen were things like there are too many heirs, or there are documents that are missing, death records or things from the past, potentially even from decades ago, that don't really know where to go to get started to track them down. Or a very common one that I found is that the property isn't worth that much, and I just don't want to pay thousands of dollars in legal consultations to even understand if I can sell it, how hard it will be, and if it will be worth my while in order to fix these issues to then be able to sell the property. Now, if this has happened to you, understand that you're not alone, and we have faced this many times before. And many of these had solutions. Many of the customers I've worked with had solutions that myself and my team were able to find and fix in order to buy the property from them. An example is a large farm that we bought in Missouri last year where the husband died intestate, meaning he did not leave a will. There was a lack of clarity in the documentation on several of the parcels. He had taken ownership in different names and entities. And there was a whole cleanup process we had to go through. We had to get affidavits of heirship. We had to correct some outdated trust documents. And then we had to get the widow who was trying to sell the property, help her to coordinate signings of all these documents with her 7 children that lived in 7 different states across the United States, just in order to be able to sell the property and get the funds, the much needed funds, into that widow's hands. Now, we were able to fix that, and many times we can fix issues like this. However, there are other cases, very common in the state of Texas, for instance, where the land couldn't be sold or had legal issues or costs more than it would be worth to fix it, or could even take years. And one common one in Texas happens in that there were undivided interests that were inherited. This is common with mineral rights and can be valuable with mineral rights where there's a mineral lease paying. But with surface rights, which is what the land is, it often is very little to any value, because if you only own a undivided interest or a share, it means that you don't actually own 1 acre if there's a 1% interest in 100 acres, but you owe 1% of every grain of sand on that property. So essentially, the property cannot be developed. Nothing can be built on the property unless all the share or interest owners were to sign off or sell it. A special lawsuit can be done. It is costly. It's called a partition suit. And those are the type of things that often would happen with undivided interest owners. However, there are some cases as well where we talk to people and they just don't even know really where to begin the process. They don't necessarily want to spend thousands of dollars on legal fees just to get a roadmap or understand. So we decided to create this site. Now, what is this site? First of all, we are not attorneys. We're land investors. We're experienced in the real estate side of it. We've been able to help many people solve these problems. We do work closely with a legal team in different states through real estate attorneys and title companies, but we are not attorneys. So There are attorney interviews that we are loading onto this site and attorney reviewed articles. Please pay attention to those. They can be very valuable. But look at this site as an educational roadmap. So what we're trying to do with this site is basically to answer your questions in layman's terms and give you a basic understanding of how most inheritances work with real estate and how they can be navigated in order for you to dispose of that property and sell it and convert it to cash if that is your goal, or to be able to even leave it in a better situation for your future heirs. We also want you to be able to be prepared to take action for your own future and with your own assets. So the question then is how to use this site, okay? First of all, I'd like to encourage you to use this site as an index. So read the articles, understand the steps, become more informed. We even have a glossary of common legal terms that you can use on this page to understand what these terms are, because they're terms, let's be honest, that are not used in common conversations and maybe you have never even dealt with until now. Second, use this site as a resource to sell your land. If you don't use the land and don't have plans to use it, and you've inherited it, then I'm sure that the family member that left you that property would want you to have some enjoyment from that. And if you don't have plans to use the property in the foreseen future, then sell the property and apply the funds to something that you do enjoy, something that is to the benefit of your plans, your future, and your family. So use this as a resource. How you can do that is remember that we are land buyers, and I have a network of land buyers, and we would be glad to meet with you, myself or my team, for a free consultation to find out exactly what the situation is about your parcel. We'll ask you some questions about the heirship and the documentation of the parcel, and in order to get a better idea of what would need to be done. If it's complicated, we will consult in our own time, our legal team. But also to give you an honest opinion of what we think the value of your property is. So if the property is complicated, remember it could be worth it to fix it. If the property is valuable, it might not be. But we will come alongside you and give you a completely no pressure meeting, no commitment necessary. It does not depend on you selling the property to us at all. And we would be glad to meet with you, talk to you on the phone, gather a little bit of information, and review your property and give you a realistic idea of what we think a cash offer would be on your property and what we think would potentially need to be done. If we can get it done or not, we will be honest with you and come alongside you as an ally in that process. Another thing is use this site to learn how to set up your own estate. Maybe you're in a frustrating and difficult situation and you've even thought, I wish that this family member would have fixed these issues beforehand. Well, we can't go in the past, but we can change the future. So we have some practical resources here and even some attorney partners that do this for you and understand, in order to help you understand how you can set up your own estate and leave your own heirship in a way that will be very simple for your heirs to navigate when you're no longer with us, because I'm sure you want to leave them a blessing and not a headache. So in summary, I invite you to freely browse our videos, articles, our glossary of terms, and you can also download our free ebook. We have an ebook guide that's available for download, or even request a paper guidebook as well in order to understand how to navigate inherited land. So welcome again to inheritedland.com. I wish you the very best with navigating your heirship transfers, and I wish you the best with the sale of your real estate. God bless.